back. This is Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on CCW TV, the video channel where a comic book writer and a comic book vendor talk about comics. Alright, so, Joe the Barbarian, we talked about in the last segment, a really good book that came out from DC that runs the risk of being overlooked because of, you know, the Blackest Night event and a whole bunch of stuff going on there. A book that's was surprisingly, and I'm going to tell you, this came totally out of left field for me. I had no idea I was going to like this book as much as I did. From Marvel, Doom War. Doom War #1 by, I always forget his name, Jonathan Mayberry, with pencils by Scott Eaton, inks by Andy Lanning and Robert Campanella. Wow, that's actually a pretty good, impressive crew there. John Mayberry, previously writer on the Black Panther title, and this is kind of like a Black Panther story.
Yeah, there was a prelude to this in Black Panther, like the last 4, 5, 6 issues, right, or something like that.
But going into this, this kind of seems more. It's a wider in scope, more than just Black Panther. But quite simply put, it's Doom wanting to take over Wakanda and deposing T'Challa and his sister as the rulers of Wakanda, and what happens there, and then T'Challa has to go to the X-Men for help. Here's the thing that gets me. This is a book that, on the face of it, you're like, because when I look at this, I had no idea that the X-Men were in this book. And this should be something that they should be plastering X-Men, X-Men, X-Men all over it so that people will read this.
Yeah, sure. Deadpool's on the cover. He's not even in this issue. I don't even know why Deadpool's on this cover.
No, it's a Deadpool variant. The dead Deadpool.
So it's not a variant, though.
No, it's not. Yeah. But I'm just saying, this is, again, a surprisingly great read, because Mayberry here obviously has a sense of what goes on in African nations when, you know, the princes and the kings are deposed and the people rise up to take over, and he plays very well the issues of corruption, what happens in a state with the media when a leader is deposed. Does a great bit with Ororo. And what happens to the previous rulers when they are overturned? There's a lot of, and this is all told in a nicely done self-contained story here, where I'm sitting here and it's easy for me, and I really want to push out all the other stuff that's going on in the Marvel Universe, so just I can appreciate the book on the basis of it alone. If you try to read this and think about the state of Doctor Doom in relation to Dark Reign, and how can Ororo be an astonishing X-Men if she's, you know, being imprisoned here in this book and so on. Don't let the continuity stuff drive you nuts, because it's going to get in the way of you enjoying a really well-written book here. Because, I'm telling you, Mayberry is one of those writers who is writing these characters like he's always written them before. And I don't remember Mayberry ever working on an X-Men book before. Because when he gets in and when T'Challa approaches Scott Summers and the X-Men to enlist their help, all the voices sound pitch perfect. They all sound pitch perfect.
When I'm reading this, like halfway through the issue, I'm like, man, fucking X-Men are a bunch of pricks. They're like, Scott Summers is like holier than thou, and Emma Frost is giving Black Panther, you know, the what for, and it's like, so Black Panther's coming to them for help because he's being persecuted in his own country.
Right.
And the X-Men know nothing about being persecuted from people. You think that they would empathize with him just a little bit more instead of giving him the stick that they do?
Right.
Which at first I didn't buy, but then as the book progresses, I understood where they were coming from. So.
And that was the thing, too. I liked the bit because, of course, in the very beginning, the reason there's that friction is because T'Challa's basically left Storm behind. It's like, it looked like he took off to save his own hide, and he left one of the X-Men behind.
There's all these false stories running about him on the media, and that's what the X-Men are picking up on. It's like, well, we don't know who to believe. Right.
And, of course, Scott Summers is kind of saying, look, okay, I'm only going to believe so much to a point. So yeah, you're right. In the beginning, it seems they're being kind of dickish, but then, of course, being the heroes that they are, they follow through. And I wasn't terribly surprised by what happened.
I wasn't terribly surprised either.
But I like the way it was done. I like the way Mayberry got him there.
In this, the guy who's running, who's taken over Wakanda, this Takan. Who's the leader of this dissident party that took over. Alright, I'm gonna go. I haven't read Black Panther. I know that you guys have been saying you guys need to read Black Panther because it's really good. I don't really know anything about what's going on in this. The way that this villain is written in this one issue, I hate him already. And it's not because like some other writers take shortcuts and make him misogynist, or they have him brutally raping somebody, or just doing something so despicable. It's just what he's doing, just the tone in his voice, and the way he's treating everybody. Like this is writing a good villain. Yes, it's just a very villainous person without actually doing anything physically horrible. It's like I already dislike this guy. Yeah, a lot.
and not only is he villainous here, but then we're talking the villainy is upped even more when Doom enters the scene.
Yeah, and he's not even the main villain of the
book.
No,
he's not even the main villain. But when Doom enters the scene, again, talking about the shortcuts, you don't see Doom speaking in terms, like, again, we've criticized other writers, insulting folks using, base language. He's just doing his bit. Mm-hmm. Especially when you get to, I call it the Die Hard moment. When, of course... you got a safe you got to break into. If you got a safe, Doom. If anything, Doom is reduced to the part of a thief because he's trying to break into a safe, and he uses a very obvious sort of motivation to get Ororo to open the safe for him. Mm-hmm. And what he does there is really more despicable than anything.
See, that's Dr. Doom.
That's Dr. Doom. Exactly. So, I just find that Mayberry is able to keep these characters true to who they are and give them that real-world resonance that they need so that you can relate to them more. So much with the justification of how Doom was, written by Bendis, was people saying, well, Bendis wrote him like that because real-world villains are like that, and they need to, we need to be able to read, understand them as villains. No. You read this. Mm-hmm. Doom is a villain. He's a badass. He's a low-down mofo.
He's above reality villains are because it's a comic book, and and they shouldn't be drawn down to reality level.
No, they shouldn't. And it's kept very true to the character. He's pretty vicious. It's pretty vicious. But I didn't find anything that happened here to be any.
There's nothing questionable.
Of the character.
Exactly.
Right.
Outside
of the character. And then, and I'm going to tell you, the end, I don't want to spoil the end of the book, but the cliffhanger at the end of this book is really, really awesome. And it shows T'Challa and the X-Men to be total badasses. Total badasses.
Yeah, I have to say, I wanted to read this book just I had a couple of people like Johnny Horror and a couple other people check out Doom War. And again, I gave it a shot because so many other people were saying, no, you guys should read Black Panther. So I read this. First of all, it's a $3.99 book. It's fine. Most of the miniseries are $3.99. But you know what? Most miniseries at Marvel are $3.99 aren't 34 pages of art. 34 pages of art. No back matter, no
Nope.
wiki padding, no bullshit.
Yep.
And when Elliot got here, I told him to read it. He's like, look at this copy, man. Look at all these words.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, dude, just read it. Just read it.
You're absolutely right.
Everything. This is how a comic book. This, especially a miniseries. This is what most miniseries first issues should be.
Yes.
All the exposition, everything. Even if you've never read Black Panther, even if you've never read X-Men, you read this, you know everything you need to know through the dialogue, through like this news reporter, and it's integrated so perfectly that you don't get bogged down and bored.
Yep.
Now, if you have been reading Black Panther, I don't know how you feel about that, about being retold all this stuff, but for a miniseries, this is exactly what you need to do.
Exactly, I agree.
You need to let everybody get on the same level,
Right.
and then start off with the story.
Right. And you know, even if you have the most passing knowledge of the Black Panther, he was the king of Wakanda and whatever, you know, this gives you in this book through the story, which I'm telling you, I did say, wow, this is a lot of exposition here, but once you get into it and the ball really starts rolling, it just carries you along. You know, I sit there and I read it, and I'm like, wow, you know, this is what a mini series should be. Everything I need in the story is right here. No tie-ins, no other things filling in the gaps. You know, Mayberry does a superb job of giving us a whole story.
I think there are
here.
going to be tie-ins though with like Black Panther and maybe Fantastic Four.
Well, that kind of makes sense in a way.
But you keep it self-contained. But to get back to something that you said before we started taping, is like this to me. All right, I like Jeff Parker's Fall of the Hulk's Alpha because I had this very same feeling where there's a lot of exposition to catch you up, but that's Jeff Parker, and I think that Mayberry is on that level too, where they know how to tell a story from the beginning. And they write it so you don't need to stick that shitty wiki padding in there.
Right.
They give you everything you need to know within the comic book, and that's what I wish more comic books would be. Now, unfortunately, you have the Siege going on right now, which is totally overshadowing everything at Marvel. You have Fall of the Hulks going on, which is kind of overshadowing. And then you have a book like this. This should have come out on its own.
Right.
Like, at some other point where
You know,
it wasn't overshadowed by everything. And this cover doesn't make me excited to buy this book at all.
No.
They should have done a better job with this cover.
Yeah.
This is not a loud cover, Joe Quesada.
No, it's
I know
not.
that you love loud covers. There's nothing on there that tells you anything what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it, and I'm like...
It's like Ben Grimm's not even in this issue, and Deadpool's not even in this issue. Like, the multiple Doom masks tell me nothing.
Yeah,
It's got nothing to do with what's on the inside.
You can't tell that this is Wolverine in some costume because they've covered his face. It's just, you know, I'm like... And I had no idea this was an X-Men book. I mean, it's essentially Black Panther teams up with the X-Men. Which means... You should have a hit on your hands, but this book is getting overshadowed. This is a $3.99 book.
34 pages of art.
34 pages of art. A mini-series from Marvel. They're doing
It's
it
going to take
right.
you more than 5 minutes to read easily.
Yeah. They're doing it right, and no, who's going to read this book? Oh, my God.
I don't care. Yeah, that's the whole thing that I don't understand. It's like they finally do something right, but it seems like they're so ashamed of it. Doesn't it, though?
You know, and the thing is that here's the thing I feel bad, because Mayberry, I mean, he's not the big name. He's just not the big name.
Right.
And he's really putting his A game out here. This is something where, you know, the formula with Marvel has been you give your up-and-coming writer a big event that people can get into and then hopefully follow him from there. Mm-hmm. I mean, they did that with World War Hulk. Okay? They did that, they've done that before. I mean, that's kind of how Bendis really got started. You know, when he was doing...
And even Miller in Marvel.
And Miller in Marvel. Yeah. You know, you get your up-and-coming name, give them a nice big event. But what they're forgetting here is that for their previous up-and-comers, that was the centerpiece. This was them. They were giving their up-and-comer the event of the year to go up there and see if they can knock it out of the park. I mean, World War Hulk didn't really compete with anything else when it was happening. Okay, Civil War certainly did not compete with anything. Secret Invasion, no. Doom War here, this really does deserve, on its merit alone, the fact that it's a really good book. This book, in my opinion, should be overshadowing this book.
Oh, easily.
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 And yeah,
and
I don't know.
And also, if you're not a big fan of superhero books, more than anything is a political thriller.
It is.
Easily.
Yeah. I don't know. I am blown away by it. I am blown away, guys.
I have to say, yeah, that came out of nowhere for me. I wasn't really expecting anything, but man, it was easily the best book I read all week.
It's a $3.99 book that's worth the cover
Yes.
price. It's
Easily.
worth the cover price. So don't
And hopefully they can keep this up for the next issues. Hopefully the next issue is $3.99. Hopefully they have more pages of art again too,
Right.
without any of the extra extraneous bullshit that we usually get in a Marvel book.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But no, that's a great job on that book.
It is.
Really
It
awesome.
is. And thanks for recommending it, guys. Thanks for recommending it. When we come back, we'll jump into DC Comics and, you know, what we always talk about. So we'll see you then.